It's another episode of the Next Fix podcast, and we're talking about what we love to talk about, and it's the comeback story, right? And so today we've got Rob Rene with us, a professional athlete, a man who knows about pushing the limits of his body and his mind and his spirit. And so it wasn't a smooth ride. And so, of course, we want to know about that. First and foremost, Rob, hey, thanks for spending your time with us here today. How you living today, man?
I'm just super stoked to be here. I appreciate it.
Right. Stoked. Well, I love the word. I love to use it. I use it too much, and I fear people are like, think I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, who's this kooky guy? Or like,
I know.
I'm stoked.
Hey.
I'm stoked, but I am.
There
stoked.
you go. That's right. As long as it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, right? As long as we're enjoying ourselves. Right. All right.
For sure, brother. So, Rob, listen, man, I have, I come into this delightfully ignorant, maybe entirely ignorant, but I don't know much about this rock bottom moment, but I do know that there was, a tough stage in your life. And so this is what we really love to hear about is how you battled back from that rock bottom moment. So tell us about that, brother.
Yeah, very good. So I've had multiple rock bottom moments is what I would say, because I have had just a really interesting life. My brothers give me a hard time. It's like, okay, I think you're on probably your ninth life here, so you better be careful with this last one.
Right.
It's true. I've had some interesting, run-ins with death, and I've been pretty darn close to not being here. So I really now I can look back on my life, and I really believe that God has a plan for my life. And I know that sounds cliche, right? But it really is. I can look back and say each area of my life, I was being trained, right, for what I'm doing specifically today. And that's what's so exciting is I finally realized that, and I finally feel like I'm in the go forward, moment. But one of the worst things that happened to me was when I was young. I was a runner, and I'd known how healthy, good, natural food was. I read a book that most of my competition did not. They're out eating hot dogs and popcorn, and I'm eating really healthy because I was a distance runner. And distance running, you need to fuel your body appropriately. And most of the kids that I was running against and training against just didn't have that knowledge. And
they're doing Pizza Hut and stuff, and you're like,
it was just,
yeah, right.
So, they're drinking Coke and soda and all these things. And I'd learned how to really fuel my body well. So I always had a good kick at the end. That was one of the things that people were amazed by. It's like, how does he finish these races like that? And I had energy, right? And I knew how my body use that energy at the right time. And I say all that because it really has an important impact on what I do today, because of something that I learned way back when I was a youth runner. And then running, as I was mentioning, was a super important part of my life, right? It was like something I literally was pretty decent at. I was better than my competition and my peers. And I just started going places, and I was like, well, this is bizarre, but something I really found natural. And then I got a full ride scholarship to Division I school, and I made the U.S. junior team. So I was literally the second best miler in the country.
Wow.
And I was
when you say miler,
yeah,
forgive me, is it just a single mile, or I don't know?
Yeah, so a mile, when you call yourself a miler, you're a mile, so you run the mile.
Okay,
and it was back in the old days, it was the 1500, right? But that old 4-minute mile barrier was always the thing that people were trying to hit. That was my specialty. I was really good at that particular event, and I was the second best at 19 years and younger in the country. And then we went on an international tour, and I won one of those races. So I beat the kid who'd beat me at nationals. He just barely beat me right at the very, very end. But then I came back and beat him, and as well as other runners from 5 different countries. So I was just on my path. I was like, okay, I'm going to be an Olympic athlete. I'm going to be a professional runner. And lo and behold, God had different plans. I was out on a training run in Utah, and it was in the winter. It was snow-covered roads and snowing. It was a 10-mile run we were on. I had a bloody nose because it was really dry and cold. And all of a sudden, we're out at this backcountry road, and my buddy who was running with me, running behind me, he jumped into the ditch and yelled my name. And I had enough time to just turn around and just see this 4x4 truck coming, and the 4x4 truck hit me in the hip and threw me 36 feet. So it's a super long way, right? And I landed straight on my face and then my knees, and I was unconscious. And then the worst thing about that was that bloody nose I had earlier in the run didn't go out my nose; it went in, and so it was clogged up my throat. So not only was I unconscious, I
Right.
wasn't able to breathe, and really, really bad situation. So if it wasn't for my friend knowing that I had that bloody nose and could tell I wasn't breathing, he literally unclogged my throat. Right. So I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him to do that. So
So how
uh,
did you do it? Like, I don't know. I'm imagining, like, I don't know. I see this like cinematic version of, like, I don't know what he like stab something in your throat. I don't know what happened.
no, it literally had to use his finger to go into my throat and reach in and clear it. It was pretty disgusting, but it was a really dramatic thing. And it was like if he wouldn't have done that, it would took the paramedics 12 minutes to get there, and you
You'd
can't
be done.
survive without oxygen or breathing for 12 minutes, right? So that was a really thankful part of that story was I knew God had a plan for my life then, but I was also went through a really depressed part of my life at that point. So this was really one of those rock bottom moments where everything I'd been working for 10 plus years had just
Right.
come to a screeching halt. And I
Yeah.
lost my scholarship. I wasn't able to run. I lost my passion, the thing I was most excited about in this world. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it was really rough. Then I kind of
You know,
went,
Rob,
yeah,
I wanted to stop it because something like really struck a chord in me, even when you had mentioned it's like kind of a cliche because I went into my journey was is that I gave myself diabetes as a result of my drug abuse and alcohol abuse, right? And so, but I remember when I came out of it, and all these people around me were telling me, you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. And then you added that little bit of a caveat there. It sounds like a cliche. And to me, at the time when I was being told that, it did sound like a cliche. And I
right.
didn't believe it. And it didn't, it took so long. And I feel like as you're transitioning into this next period of the story, is that like you could have been thankful and you could have been buying into what was the truth is that you are here for a reason. But it's really hard to digest that, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, sure, you guys have to say that. Of course you have
Right.
to say that.
Right.
Oh, you're
Right.
here for a reason. Oh, thanks for telling me that. It didn't sink in. I couldn't see what God had for me, not until much later, right? And so I wanted to touch
100%.
on that. Like, I had that phase where people were telling me, oh, you should be so grateful for being here alive. Like God pulled you out of a coma for a reason, but I couldn't see it. And
Right.
things actually got worse when I should have been grateful. I wasn't. And I felt, and actually I took a hard turn down the darker path. And so, but I can really relate with that. Like what you hear that. And at the time it's like a cliche. It just takes a lot of time to see exactly why, right? And so,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, things did get a little bit worse for you, right? So you kind of sunk into a depression because everything kind of got pulled out from under you.
Yeah, it was brutal for a while, right? I literally couldn't I couldn't watch running on TV. I couldn't watch even track meet. I couldn't go to, I couldn't even walk down a street and have cars behind me coming this way. It was
Wow.
just like it was that feeling in my mind of just something's there, something's going to get me. So it's really
Yeah.
really really rough for a long time. You're right, and I did not at that point feel like I had a gift, right? Or that God saved me for a reason. It was like, oh yeah, whatever, right? Didn't feel that whatsoever. Only reason I say that now is because I truly can see what He did in my life and what He was training me to do. Right? It wasn't for me to be a professional runner. That's well not the path He had for me. So I went into finished my degree and started working full time. Then I did what the world tells you to do. Right? The world tells you to go get a job at a large corporation and get a pension and get a wife and three children and have a white picket fence and have dogs and it's just like that's what I did. I did all of that, and I did it for 25 years, and I had a successful career, but it was not really fulfilling. Right, it wasn't something that was like, okay, this is I'm here to make a difference in the world. It was like, no, I'm just here selfishly making money to provide for my family, which
Right.
isn't
And you're getting
necessarily
by,
bad, but right.
but you're paying bills. And
Yeah.
it's
So
tough. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, so keep
it
going,
was
man.
rough.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, and
obviously
then
the
yeah, I call it
punchline's
this.
coming. I can't wait.
Yeah. I call it the second truck, right? Because to me, it had a similar impact on my life as the first one did. The first one obviously was devastating, right? The second truck was the pandemic, and the reason why is because when that hit, I was a traveling sales guy. I lived in Central Oregon. I covered the entire West Coast as a sales territory, and all of a sudden, boom, you can't travel, right?
Yeah,
And it was like, oh, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I can't go sell to people in Central Oregon. There's nobody here to buy anything. And so it was like they downsized the sales team, and I obviously was one of those because it was like,
right,
what do I do? And so that was the first time in my life I'd really been able to sit back and look at what's going on in the world. And,
right,
I was like, how do I save my family? How do I save myself with this scary thing that's happening to our world? And I went back to my beginning, the nutrition, right? So I was like, hey, I know how important nutrition is to our bodies. So I'm going to go start crafting some solutions that are going to help my family. And I'll never forget one of the doctors that I was following. And this really woke me up was he was talking about vitamin D and vitamin D. He was insinuating that it could potentially help you with COVID. And so that wasn't the issue, but the problem was is he was just talking about vitamin D, and then the establishment was attacking him in a very big way. They were suing him for billions of dollars. And I was just I'm like, man, this guy must be really bad, right? It's like if the government's suing him for billions of dollars, he must have said some really bad things, he must have done some really bad things, but what's going on, right? So then I started doing research, and this is probably the skill set that I'm so excited that I have now that I never did have. It's a skill set to when I want to find out a topic. I don't believe what you tell me. I don't believe what
mm,
my wife tells me. I don't believe what the media tells me. I don't believe what the TV tells me. I do research on my own. And then I start finding resources that I see as credible and that I've verified are credible over a long period of time, to then I can start making my own decisions on all topics. And so my wife gets really mad at me because she'll come and say, hey, I heard about this really cool thing and you need to try it. And I'm like, great, thank you. And then I'll take that and I won't believe a thing until I go do my own research on it. It's just one of those
right.
silly quirks that I have now
Well,
because I don't
it's
trust
not
anything.
silly though. Well, because check it out, man. Because we're bombarded with knowledge. That's
Yeah.
what we have these days. We've got.
Yeah.
I mean, it is unprecedented the amount of knowledge that we get so quickly, right? But
Right.
it's not all equal,
No,
and
that's a
and
problem.
many times,
That's
yeah,
exactly the problem. That's what really pissed me off. Is I'm like, okay, so this doctor is talking about vitamin D. I'm like, vitamin D is like the most natural thing in the world, right? It's like comes from the sun. It's like the
sun. It comes
most
from the sun.
it's the most vital thing we have as a human being, right? If we don't have the sun, we don't have life. And so I couldn't understand that. And so I started peeling the onion back. And when I realized that he wasn't bad, the doctor had nothing wrong. Vitamin D is not bad. These guys are vilifying him for a specific reason. Why? What is that? And then, man, that opened up the can of worms that was just incredible for me that this health establishment that we have today, I call it the medical cartel, is there to make money, not to help people. And it's just really pissed me off, to be honest. I was like, I was in this
Yeah,
world for 45 years or so, and at this time, and it was like I had been lied to my entire life. All this information that
yeah.
I'm receiving from people is actually not right. It's not accurate, and
Well,
so
I
really
got a
really
bit of
frustrating.
an opinion there, Rob. One, I do agree with you, right? It's like a medical merry-go-round.
Yeah,
And I think that maybe you haven't been lied to the last 45 years, but there has been a shift. It is no longer true that doctors know best. It is also
right,
it's just the dynamic has changed significantly. And there is that argument that it is fueled by money, and it's probably the most accurate argument for how things have become what they have become. But
right.
there is this, like, I mean, even in the last couple of generations, you could learn and love and trust a doctor. You could, like, it was your doctor, and that was a
It was the
person that was
white
a
coat.
part.
Yeah,
Right. But it's not like that anymore, man. And I can see why you do get pissed off, because it's hard not to feel like the motivation is money. They just kick you around like a ball from specialist to specialist. I mean, if you just do what they tell you to, you literally could be at 3 doctors visits a week forever,
easy. Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
And they don't care. Like, it's just like, this is my life now.
They
And
don't.
so, yeah, man, I feel you on being pissed off, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's really, really frustrating. And when I found out, at the beginning when I was doing the research on how our medical system, our medical schools was taken over back in the early 1900s by the Rockefellers, and how that changed the incentives for all of the medical schools, that was like really enlightening. Way back then, about 50% of our practitioners were holistic practitioners. They're like, they would help you with natural things to help your health. And now that's down to like 0.01% of our health practitioners are holistic practitioners, are helping us with stuff like that God gave us on this earth to help us. And so that really upset me. I'm like, okay, this is really frustrating. I learned stuff about like mockingbird media, something you can research later, that the media is really telling us a narrative that they want to tell us. It's not the truth. It's whatever they want to tell us, which that really frustrates. And they're very, very, very good at it. So, you don't realize it. You hear something very similar from 5 different sources, from 5 different mediums, and you think it's true because you heard it that many times. Where in actuality, that if you go do research and understand, those are just narratives that we're getting told. So anyway, that was the rabbit hole I went down. It was really frustrating. But it changed my whole life. I'm like, okay, now I understand that they're here for a pill for an ill society, and I want to help people naturally and faithfully. So I really transitioned my whole entire life and existence to trying to help people with natural resources as much as possible. Right? There's a time and a place for Western medicine, and it's mainly acute medicine. Right? You have something that you get hit by a truck. You need someone there to
Right.
come pick you
You
up and
break a
save you,
bone.
right? You break a
Yeah.
bone, you go get it fixed. But other than that, you really need to look at holistically how you can help your body. And I'm having a blast doing that. And I believe that finally is what the Lord has put me on this earth for, is to share that message. And that, man, He gave us everything on this earth for us to thrive if we know how to use it. And the problem is our air is compromised, our food is compromised, our water is compromised. There's just so many things bad that's going on with our society, that it's just like, it's hard to eat well, to eat
Right.
healthy, right? It really
Yeah.
is. They make it really difficult. So you really need to, step back and look at how we can help people. I'm trying to do things that are just absolutely free. Right here, I'm not trying to sell you something. I do have a business. I'm trying to run a business, and I want to grow a business. But at the same point, I want people to understand, man, if you just do these 4 things or 5 things that are absolutely free, you're going to improve your health in a
Right.
dramatic way. So I'm having
Well, and
fun doing that.
that is a glorious model. That is a glorious model, my friend, because it's like, okay, you're acknowledging and admitting, yes, okay, here is what I sell, and you can get it for free. But
Right.
if maybe you don't want to take the time to go get it, and maybe you don't want to spend all of your resource trying to figure out which one's best, I've kind of expedited the process. And so then you've got something, right? And that's what I'm imagining. You haven't told me
Yeah,
anything. So I'm kind
that's
of
right.
going out on a limb here, is that you have expedited the search and the compiling of all of the ingredients. And so your holistic solution is what? Like, what was the genesis of
Yeah,
your
that's
insight? Like,
exactly
what
right.
came about?
Yeah, there's actually 2 different steps. A step to the step, as there always is, right? The first step was me learning about frequencies.
Man.
Learned about these skin patches that had frequencies on them, and the gentleman's like, "Yeah, you just put this patch on your skin, and it's going to help you." And I'm like, "Can it help me with what?" And it was a pain relief product at the same time. I'm like, I'm going to put a sticker on me, and the sticker's going to help me with my pain. I'm like, come on, right? Give me a break. But then I started to do that trick that not a trick, but I started doing my own research. I'm like, okay, if this guy's telling me that I can put a sticker on my body that has frequencies on it, how could it possibly help the human body? That doesn't make any sense to me. So then I started doing research, right? And I realized that the body, the way God made our body, is made up of frequencies. It's actually energy. And then even down to the cellular level, our cells interact with each other via vibration, and that vibration gives
Yeah.
off, guess what? A frequency, right? And for
Yeah.
that's like, oh my gosh, I thought frequencies were kind of a weird word, but it's like, okay, frequencies are everywhere. The radio is a frequency, colors a frequency, sound is a frequency. And like, okay, so now the body is not strange. The body is made up of energy, and okay, frequencies aren't weird, because they're everywhere. And then I realized that frequencies literally have a physical impact on the body. And that was like, well, that's totally interesting. I had no idea, right? And then once I started putting the puzzle pieces together, I'm like, wow, these patches are actually phenomenal because it uses subtle energy and it interacts with the body's energy system and it helps you with certain health issues. I was like, okay, that's mind blowing for me. I didn't ever, I thought the guy was absolutely crazy. Right. And
Right.
then that opened up this window of understanding to me that this body is amazing and God made this body that's so complex. And then I went back to my original nutrition, right? Ideas of like, hey, if you feed the body with what it needs, then it's going to start healing itself. And that's what just like the light bulbs of it's like ding, 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 ding. And then I think that's why I'm here is to say, you as a human being are made in his image, and he developed this body and created this body. They still haven't figured out how the body works, right? I know that there's a lot of science that's been done on a lot of different areas of the body, but it still hasn't been entirely figured out, right? And there's this new, what they're calling quantum energy that is a really interesting field where things can happen to you from outside of where you physically are. And it's like, what? That's really strange. I don't believe it. Then you start doing research like, okay, maybe I do start believing some of these things. So it's just pretty phenomenal how God made our body so complex, yet at the same point, so simple in the respect that if we give it what it needs, it does its own thing. It heals itself. And that's just super phenomenal, right? It's like, wow, if we can just get people to understand that.
So the two steps are the frequency, right? Which is I believe in wholeheartedly, right? I'm a firm believer on like the energy that we create, cultivate, share will come back to us like a boomerang, right? And so it's very important for us because it is that energy is spawned by a choice of whether or not we're in a benevolent or a malicious environment or universe. Right. So anyways, so the step one is is the frequencies, the waves, however you want to package that up. But that's an energy thing. And that is, I believe, to be started from a choice. And then, of course, sending that positive energy out and that type of thing. And then you get it back. And of course, that's awesome. Right. And then the second step, I believe, is the fuel. Right. You're talking about the actual digested materials that we biologically kind of physically turn into energy biologically, right? Like, so there's the step one, frequencies and energies. Second is fuel for the body through nutrition, right? And so those are the two steps.
Yeah, and it's exactly right because there's a lot of things that can influence the body that are frequency based, right? They're outside of our bodies that have an impact on our bodies. And then if you can have all the frequencies in the world, but if you don't take care of the inner core, right, then it's not going to help you. And if you don't take care of your inner core, the frequencies aren't going to help you. They're both are super important. And so when you understand that, man, it's amazing when you can really transform people's health. I've had a podcast called I Am Pain Free for over a year, and I interview holistic practitioners all the time about how do you help people, naturally and faithfully, and they have all these amazing ways that they help people with fatigue and with pain and with all sorts of issues. And a lot of it just comes down to the gut, right? Your gut. God made this incredible stomach of ours that just is the orchestrator of how things get in our bodies. And then when you start fueling it with the right nutrients and the right nutrition, then your organs get the right things they need at the right times. And then even go down to the cellular level again, and you get the mitochondrial process working well. And man, that just your whole body can transform in a really short period of time if you start understanding those simple things. Like you said, let's start with frequencies, interactions, and then let's just start with fuel, right? And then if we fuel our bodies right.
So check this out, man. This is a part of my story that I'm transparent about, but I don't share it too often, but it's super relevant here. So when I was an addict and alcoholic, right, and I developed pancreatitis real bad. I'm talking,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm talking like I thought I was going to die so many times.
My mother passed away from that.
It is vicious.
It's brutal.
And so it is a direct result, or typically it's a direct result. They will assume that it is a result of you drinking too much. You can get it acutely, like if you just drink too much in a weekend, you can get it, temporarily. Mine was chronic because I was chronically drinking. And so what had happened was they put me on a feeding tube, right? And so they put me on this feeding tube, and my life is just, turned upside down. I cannot eat solid foods. Everything's through a tube and everything else. Well, my girlfriend at the time, she's saying to me, she's like, look, I heard about this doctor, right? He's a holistic doctor. He's doing, what do they call it? Like, where they push down on your limbs, they put different minerals.
Muscle
I shouldn't.
testing and stuff.
Muscle testing.
Muscle
And
testing.
so it was a crazy part of my story, because I went and I saw this guy, and at the time you couldn't have even gotten close. You couldn't have penetrated my mind with frequencies and nutrition and all of that. Like, there was no way. I was a full-blown addict. I only had one goal. That was to get high and drunk. Like, you could say, well, it doesn't matter. You can just talk to me. It's all hot air, because I only have one mission, right? And so here I am. I go to see this doctor. Well, first and foremost, I'm paying him like over $1,000 a week. I paid this guy, and he's pushing down on my arms, and I'm getting pissed off. And I'm just like, I'm going to fight this guy with everything I got in my body. I'm not going to let him move, push on my arm, and he's putting like minerals in my mouth. And it was funny, because I did get better, right? So I got better. But it wasn't because of this poor guy just trying to do and exercise what he knows to be true. It was because I quit doing drugs and alcohol for a little while. Right? So like, here's my body. Like, I'm just not putting the poison in. And then all of a sudden I started getting better, and he would just be like, here he is. It's my star patient, and I'm like, you know what, man, I'm not giving you any more money, So,
right.
Now this was me then, though, right?
Yep.
Right. So then, once I had removed, the copious amounts of poison, which, it doesn't matter what kind of frequencies you got. It doesn't matter what kind of, if you're eating all like organic food or not, but if you're drinking a liter of vodka, you got problems.
Yeah.
So I cut that out, and now fast forward to who I am now. And once that poison has been removed, I think back to that guy, and I think like, man, I wonder if I had been in a better place,
right,
and if I had received what his message was, whether he was good at it or not, at least if I would have given it a chance. And here I am later in life. I believe in these things.
Right,
I believe, maybe not muscle testing specifically, but more about what you're saying about the frequencies and our energies that we choose, like the energies we put out. We start with that. And I believe in like listening to frequencies, like things like that. There's a few ways that we can infiltrate ourselves with this type of energy. But man, that point in my life was just, I felt bad for that guy, because I just fought him.
Hey, I forgot to even mention probably the most important part of my story, which is very similar to yours, but in some respects, is that I drank alcohol for 25 years, right, every day. So it wasn't a weekend thing. I drank it every day, and I think I was a highly functional, alcoholic, whatever you want to call it. But it was something that I ended up in my sales career. We'd take people out to lunch, we take them out to dinner, and then you're supposed to take them, out to the bar afterwards and develop relationships. And so it just became part of my thing. And I'm like, hey, it's 5:00 somewhere. That became, it's like I just started doing it every day, and then it just became a habit. And it was really, really big part of my story. And it wasn't even until if you take back those 2 trucks that hit me, I didn't drink a lot when I was a young athlete, but after that I drank a lot. And then when the second truck hit me, the pandemic hit, I still didn't stop drinking for a while as I was learning about these nutrition things. And then that's when I just really had a huge shift in my faith. I was doing a lot of research on the Bible. I was reading a lot about, every day I was in the Word. I was researching nutrition topics. That's how Exodus became about, was because I was researching the herbs and superfoods in the Bible, and finally started developing a real relationship with Christ that I hadn't had before. And then I just really, at some point, I just looked at my wife one night and I said, I think I'm done. She's like, you're done with what? I said, I think I'm done drinking. She about fell out of the bed, because she'd been trying to get me to do it for 10 plus years. Right. And I just said, I just don't feel well. I just not thinking well. And I think there was some periods, a couple of weeks or a couple of months up to that point, where I just have brain fog, where I was like, how can I not remember that? Right. I know that happened just a little while ago, and I can't even remember it. Like there's something going on with my brain, and that really started to worry me. And then I just wasn't feeling well at all. I was just like, okay, I think I'm finally done. So I did successfully quit drinking that next day. I went and saw a doctor, and because I started doing research, that skill set that I had. I'm like, how do I stop drinking? I don't want to go to a 12-step program. I'm a stubborn idiot, kind of like that. I just don't want to do things the way other people do it. I want to do it my way. And I was looking at how to do that, and it's like, well, you can do it, but guess what? You can also kill yourself if you're depending on how your body reacts to stop drinking, right? So I was like, well, I
Yeah.
don't want to die by trying to
Right.
be healthy. So I went and got a little bit of help that was just some medicine that I took for a 2 week period to just help the withdrawal symptoms.
Wow.
And then during that 2 week period, I prayed a lot, and I just said, okay, I'm done, and literally stopped. And haven't had a touch of alcohol in almost 7+ years from
Man, nice.
that period.
So,
But
I mean,
I know your situation, and know how to I empathize with anybody who is in that situation, because I was there.
yeah, and so that is surprising, man, to because withdrawals, as I mean, you're dead on. Withdrawals from alcohol can kill you, and too many times people like withdrawals from opiates, it can't kill you. It can't.
Really
Right? Like,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
cocaine, it cannot kill you. Marijuana, it cannot kill you. Like those drugs, as deemed more illegal or however they, whatever light you want to shine on them, they
Right.
will not kill you when you stop. Right. And however, if you are drinking a solid volume of alcohol daily and you stop cold turkey, you stand a good chance of having seizures, having hallucinations. It goes on and on and on. Now,
Right. Right. Your
it doesn't
organs
mean
can
that
just
the
shut down.
withdrawals. So how much were you drinking, brother? I
I
mean, if you
was
were
it
taking.
was it was a lot, but it wasn't. I mean, it was for 5 or 6 drinks a night, and then sometimes it was
Right.
12, sometimes it was two. It was a lot dependent upon what was going on. But I drank way too much, right? I drank. I ended up going to vodka and sodas, and that was try to not have my breath stink as much all the time, right? And just stupid things like that you do when we start being self conscious about your problem. And that
Yeah.
was tried to not necessarily hide it. I just tried to not make it obvious. And so but
Right.
it was no denying that it was an issue and a problem that I just over time just said, that's not the person that I want to be. I don't want to be that person. And man,
Right.
I feel so much better. My brain is so much clearer, and it's the best thing I've ever done was to stop drinking. And so if I can encourage anyone that has an issue
Yeah.
or has a problem, just you can do it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. And just make sure you're smart about it, and
Yeah.
you can get well. And then the other side of it is glorious, right? You just feel so much better about yourself. Your confidence goes up. Your
Yeah.
relationships get better. There's just nothing wrong with that. In
Yeah, man.
social situations, I just grab a cup of water and ice and throw a lime in it, and everybody thinks I'm drinking a lot right along with them. I cheers with them, and I have fun, and I still just interact like I used to. But guess what? I'm just not putting poison in my body
Right.
they're going through it. So anyway, that's
It's
kind of
so
my addiction story.
It's so curious that like you mentioned like like I don't know an alcoholic who hasn't tried to go the vodka soda route because it's either calories or
Yeah, that was a big part
whatever
of it
it
too.
is or the smell, and it's like I have never seen anybody successfully do that. If they have a bit of a drinking problem or they have a serious drinking problem, it's like it never goes well. They either like get extra mean or they get even more drunk than they were on beer or whatever it was. Like it's just whenever I hear about that, it does not go well. And it is usually a red flag, like things are a little bit more worse than you might imagine. But well, good on you, man. God
Yeah,
bless you
I mean,
for
it
getting
was
to the other
it
side of
was
that.
my wife and the Lord, right? I really believe that she was amazing support to help me get through that, and I really was on my knees a lot, right? I was like, "Hey, you got to help me through this. This is I know this is gonna be rough, but at the same point, I'm strong. I know I can do it. I'm a very competitive person, so
There you
I
go.
was like, hey, I am gonna win this battle, and I'm not gonna make it's not gonna be a big deal, right? Nobody else in the surrounding area knew even that I was going through this battle. It was like myself, my wife, and the Lord. And I obviously let my family know what I was doing, but it was kind of a private battle, and I successfully beat it, and just super proud of myself that I was able to get
I'm
it
proud of you
done,
too, man.
and just hope I can help other people through that story.
Yeah.
And then now I'm literally trying to help them get well physically from the inside
Yeah.
out, right?
So
So
let's
It's a lot of
Tell us more about Exodus, right? Because I know that Exodus is it's the name of your brand, and
right.
so yeah, I want to know about that. Like, what are
Yeah.
you working on? What developed as a result of those stories? Like, hit us with that, man.
It's really fun in the respect that, what the research I was doing on the Bible is just amazing. There's herbs and superfoods throughout the Bible that are awesome. I kept praying, like, "Good Lord, help me find something that's just so amazing and different that nobody else has ever put out there that I can help the world with." And I couldn't find anything that was unique. I found a lot of different neat things. There was barley grass and wheatgrass and saffron and aloe and cumin and frankincense and myrrh. Those are the seven that I ended up actually choosing to work with my system, because what happened is I was in that prayer time trying to figure it out, researching for months and months and months. And I just couldn't find that thing that made it extra different and special. And the Lord led me to this practitioner in California who had this molecular hydrogen generating blend. And when I learned
That sounds
about
fancy.
molecular hydrogen, it was so cool. Hydrogen is literally the smallest particle that God created on this earth. When you put the molecular hydrogen inside your bloodstream, it literally acts as a master antioxidant. So it goes and gets the bad blood cells that are not supposed to be, the free radicals that are in your blood, and it extracts them from your blood. So it really helps you with a lot of different things. It helps you with energy, it supports your inflammation, and so it has a really good response to your health, just the molecular hydrogen. So we took the 7 best biblical ingredients that complement what molecular hydrogen does, and we combined them into this product called Exodus. And they created the brand called Exodus Strong. And it's just such a phenomenal product, because instead of taking like a green shake, like you see all these people doing the green shakes every morning, and then they got to take a whole bunch of supplements, and then they got to do something else in the afternoon. We literally created this product with those 7 ingredients: organic barley grass, organic wheatgrass, aloe, cumin, saffron, frankincense, and myrrh, and then the molecular hydrogen blend. So it's literally got 8 different components that are all synergistic that help you with energy. So most people love this product because at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, most of us have a big crash. I did. Even when I stopped drinking, I have this condition called bradycardia. It's just a slow beating heart, and I don't know if it's because of my drinking or not, but it's just my regular pulse is like in the low 30s. My
Really?
resting heart rate is. And so in the afternoon, I would just get exhausted, probably because I just am not getting enough oxygen that most people do. And I would just get tired. I started taking Exodus. I literally don't have those spells anymore. I don't need to take a nap. It's just been really fun. The athletes love it because it helps them recover from their workout and then do the next workout better, and they can even last longer with this product. So it's just so much fun because it's helping people in a real dramatic way, and it's helping
Right.
at that cellular level. So it's really transitioning the body, that if you continue to take it over a extended period of time, it really transitions your blood into new healthy blood. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I know a few things here about inflammation at the cellular level, and so is that essentially what it's doing? It's reducing that inflammation? Because I know that when you do that, right, when you reduce the resistance or, you know, inflammation on the cellular membrane, it kind of it becomes like a callus or like a shell or a
Yep.
scab, right?
Right.
And so then our hormones and everything has trouble penetrating and communicating through that cellular membrane.
That's right.
And so if we can reduce that inflammation at the cellular level, then we can expedite like the communication and the interaction of all of the hormones that our body is creating to so it's functioning again appropriately, right?
That's right. That's right.
And if you don't, what we have seen, and it is definitely linked to inflammation at cellular level, is cancer, diabetes,
Yes.
Alzheimer's, the heavy hitters, man, dementia.
Yep.
I mean, all those things are linked to cellular inflammation.
That is so great. I'm so glad that you know that, because most people don't, right? They don't realize that literally the doctors that I interview, they're like, the source of all disease is inflammation. The source, not a source or not one of the sources, like the source. So it's like incredible how important what you just said. It's so true. So anyway, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted
Yeah.
to emphasize that you're so spot on.
Yeah, yeah, and it was the truth, and it goes ignored, right? Because I feel like awareness of frequencies and holistic approaches, and then you get into that and you start to figure out though. But I think that very specifically the biological response of the cell and what we do to it over time, right? We damage it over time through various different influences, stress and chemicals, and like you said earlier in the conversation, you were mentioning that our air has been compromised in many places. And so all these places, all these ways that we have
Food in
created
our
or
water.
damaged
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
All
And
that
so, all right.
processed food.
So tell me more about, okay. So how does this work, right? Like, how do you bottle up, and forgive me, the hydrogen?
Yep. Yep.
Like
That's
how are you doing that?
Yeah, so cool. So literally, here's the bottle of it, and it's just little capsules. But the cool thing, it's got the magnesium blend that's patented, and when it goes inside your body, the capsule disintegrates, and then it interacts with your body fluid, and that interaction with your body fluid, that interaction creates the hydrogen. So that's where it's so unique. Where most other systems, you have like a water bottle, and you click a button, and it spins and it creates hydrogen in your water, and then you had to drink it. And if you don't like those hydrogen bottles that are so popular now, I still have one because hydrogen water is better than non-hydrogen water, but it's just
Right.
it diffuses really quickly. So if you don't drink it immediately, it's not going to help you
Right.
basically at all. Most people don't drink it immediately, so it's not helping most people. Where this is so different because it's you put it in your body, and then your body creates the hydrogen. So since your body creates the hydrogen, it assimilates it into the blood, and then it just creates these little micro nano bubbles that get in your bloodstream. It even crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it's very good for
Mm.
cognitive health as well. But it gets into and helps the mitochondrial work better, like you were mentioning. That's that problem with inflammation, and it helps reduce inflammation around the cell. So, and then it gets the free radicals, the bad stuff that shouldn't be there, and says, "Let's go out, let's go home," and get some out of your body. So it's just
Right.
phenomenal.
So could these well, do they serve like a detox, like a cellular detox purpose?
Yeah,
Is that
because they're
happening?
getting rid
Okay.
of the bad stuff, right? Yep,
Right.
yep, yep. So
Right.
it really cleans your blood. If you do research, there's two places you can do research on hydrogen. It's hydrogenstudies.com and molecularhydrogenstudies.com. And there's literally thousands of scientific reports that have been done on hydrogen and the effects it has in the human body as well as in mice and all those other research that they do. It's pretty cool. You can say, I want to research, cardiovascular health, and it will show the research studies that have been done on how hydrogen helps for that particular thing. How does it help with inflammation? It's going to give you a list of hundreds of scientific evidence related to how it helps with inflammation. So it's just such a cool thing. And then the biblical ingredients are super important to us because obviously I'm a Bible-based believer, and I believe in the whole mind, body, spirit connection, right? So one of the goals of my company is to get 1 million new people to get into the word than they haven't before. So we have a prayer guide that goes with every single bottle we sell. Because we literally want people to say it
Right.
out loud. There's power in the tongue, and the Bible tells us that. And if you declare it,
Right.
it's much better. So you declare it with your mouth, your eyes are reading it, your ears are hearing yourself say it, and you combine that with this amazing capsule, and it really helps you with your health using multiple senses that God gave you. Do you need to say the
Yeah.
prayers to read the guide? No, the product can help you dramatically regardless. But that's just me. But instead of taking the green shakes and taking 5 different pills, you can combine them all in one with Exodus, which is pretty phenomenal.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And I think that the 1-2 punch of the spiritual development along with the cellular development inside biologically, it's a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exciting.
Now this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate it. Now, like let everybody know, and I'll have it all in print too, but like where's the best place to find it, and how to get in touch with you and figure out more and that type of thing.
Yeah, sounds great. So you can exodusstrong.com is the name of the brand, and that's where you can find all sorts of Exodus things. We just literally filmed a commercial with Terrell Owens, the old TO NFL football
Yeah.
player. So we're just starting commercials with him that are going to be aired nationally, and so that's been a big deal. And so we're super excited about that that's going on. We're just really stoked to try to get this product out to the world. Then I have a social media. It's Rob Rene Health is my tag. If you ever want to chat with me, you're welcome to connect with me on any social media, and we can have a chat, and I see if I can help you in any way possible.
Love it, brother. I love it, brother. Rob Rene Health. Yeah. And like I said, I'm gonna have everything outlined there for when I get this thing produced. Man, I'm all about this, dude. I'm all about this.
Super exciting. I appreciate you, Ryan. So it's exciting that you're helping people in such an amazing way, and your story is amazing. It's just fun to see people on the other side of it, because it's not fun going through it, as you know, right? And but now that we are on the other side, I think it's up to us to help other people, get there, and hopefully we can help them get to where we are, and even beyond what we're doing.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. So, Rob, I really appreciate you, man. Guys, it's been another episode of The Next Fix. We'll see you on the next one.
God bless.